Hey everyone, welcome to the Go Big with Leanne show. And tonight is going to be a great show as usual because Suzie Devon is with us. So she's like one of my regulars now. And who knows what 2021 is going to bring for Suzie and I. We've got some things up our sleeve, but we haven't quite figured out how we're going to move forward, but she might be on my show a little bit more. But tonight we're going to talk about meditation, how to start a meditation practice, why it's important, the myths and the misconcepts about meditation and everything meditation. And I know for me personally, and I know Suzie will share some stories as well, that I personally wouldn't be the person I am today without incorporating meditation into my life. So I'm super, super grateful that I've been doing it a long time. I'm not sure like who the first person was that introduced it to me or, where I heard the concept. I honestly have no clue, but somewhere along my spiritual journey. And, you think about even as a kid, or as when I was a kid, sometimes I just went to my room and sat, you know, because I needed to think about things. And so meditation doesn't have to be scary. So hopefully Suzie can help us tonight kind of get over some of those, maybe your fear, because that's what I hear a lot. People are afraid of meditation. And so, yeah, let's kind of start there, Suzie. Like, do people need to be afraid of meditation?
Absolutely not. A lot of times, you're correct in that, though. People oftentimes are afraid. I think there's a fear of failure. I'm not going to be able to do this. What if I don't do it right? And you can't mess up meditation. Every time you do it is going to be different. We all start somewhere. And so just give yourself grace. And for you to even be willing to try it is something. And a lot of times you may already be meditating and not even realize you're doing it. So I'm going to give an example. I was at a waterfall here in Kansas. Yes, we have waterfalls in Kansas, beautiful ones. And I was with a friend, and we were just having the best time playing around in this waterfall, and we were really having to walk and watch every little step that we took because we were in a river and there was like a chasm or an area where if you just put your foot in the wrong place there was a crack, and so we were having to watch every step we took and very, very carefully place our feet because we couldn't see. And I was like, well, wow, this is a great walking meditation because we were totally focused on every step we took. But this is interesting. There were a couple of men who were fishing there, and they were fishing in the part where it was really, really rough waters. And we were there for hours. We were surprised. And he said, I have not seen them catch a single fish. And we've been here for hours. And then we sat down and we watched them while we were having a picnic. And I said, I just realized something. This is their form of meditation. They haven't caught a single fish and they don't care. This is their way of meditating. And so there may be things that you're already doing that are meditation. So meditation is about experiencing the moment in the present and paying attention. And so whether you're lying out on a lawn chair looking at the leaves, moving around um, with the wind, or if you are dancing, or if you're drawing, or if you're painting, or if you're out walking and you're just paying attention to what's going on around you. So, for instance, today I went for a walk and I noticed the smell. It's great to engage your senses. I noticed the smell of fresh cut grass, and I noticed the birds chirping, and I noticed the plane fly over, and I noticed how when I walked underneath the tree, I felt, well, it was a warm day, like 80 some degrees. And when I walked in the sun, I noticed how that felt on my skin, but I noticed when I walked under a tree, how that felt, how much cooler it felt. And so it was truly an engagement of the senses. And in doing that, I had a pretty quiet mind. And so that's a meditation. So there are all kinds of ways that you already probably are meditating. But then, of course, I think when we think of meditation, we think it's got to be still, quiet. I have to breathe just right and all of that. Well, that is helpful too. And we'll talk about that some as well. But I just want to introduce that idea that you may already be doing it. And it probably isn't as hard as you think.
Yeah, I mean the whole idea for me on meditation is when and so, meditation may be a really broad word that we're using tonight. But I like that because then it's going to invite more people into our world. But I know for me, I try to do a quiet meditation in the morning, just set the tone for my day. But throughout the day, when I feel myself getting a little wound up about something or overwhelmed or worried or stressed, when I kind of go into those lower vibrational modes, then I just take a moment and like a short kind of on the go meditation, just to go into gratitude, think of something that I'm grateful for, think of something that I love, or even just think of the word love, to kind of to like, the Staples commercial, the easy button.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit the easy button of the reset of my mind, because I got to get out of the kind of rat race that I'm in, to then be able to serve in my day how I want to serve. So for me, I feel like I'm in prayer and meditation. My intention is to be there throughout the whole entire day, because to me it's a place that I want to be, so I can be my best self, which means then I can serve those that come in contact with me in the best way. But if you're brand new to meditation, that may sound like too much. Like, oh gosh, well, Leanne's been doing this for a long time. That does not sound like anything I'd be able to do. So for someone who's like brand new and really is not even aware of their thoughts or their senses or anything, they're busy raising a family, they're trying to pay the bills, they're worried about the election and COVID and everything else, like what would you say like is the easiest like way to start like implementing this into their daily practice?
Okay, I'm going to give you a few ideas, but what Leanne just said is great. To just stop and breathe. Just recognize that you're on a hamster wheel and intentionally step off of it and just say, okay, I'm going to put everything on pause for a moment and just start to focus on your breath. And so the best way to breathe is diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing. So on the inhale, take a deep breath in and allow your belly to rise or expand like a balloon. And on the exhale, allow your belly to flatten. And just take a few deep breaths, even on the inhale, even on the exhale. And that diaphragmatic part is very important because you'll get more oxygen doing that, and it will create a better effect on your nervous system. You can do that just by taking a few deep breaths. You can take those deep breaths with the intention of stepping back. Like imagine you've taken 3 steps back while you're doing this breathing. So what are you stepping back from? You're stepping back from the stress, you're stepping back from the situation, and there's some power in that. Another thing that you can do is you can set the intention with each breath. I like this mantra. On the inhale, peace. On the exhale, release. So peace, release. And just think that with every breath that you take. And of course, doing that with your diaphragmatic breathing is going to be more powerful. Another way that you can do the meditation is if you can lie, you always want to, if possible, have a straight spine. And so you can do the meditation sitting up. You can do the meditation lying down. Lying down on the floor is great. I know last time I mentioned the corpse pose where you just spread out your limbs and breathe. And somehow the breathing is a little easier on your back for most people. So you can do that. Something else that you can do is do the breathing like what I just mentioned, but focus on your heart. Just feel into your heart. I just did this the other morning in my bed, and it felt so good in the morning to just feel into my heart. So I could literally, I'm a very body aware person, but I could literally feel almost like I could feel the blood pumping through my body as I focused, but it wasn't just blood. It was like I was pumping love through my body with each breath. So just focus on your heart. And while you focus on your heart, you can think about somebody that you love, a friend, a partner, a pet, a child, and focus on your heart. Whatever it is that invokes that um, that vibration of love within you, focus on it and start focusing on your heart and breathing, and that just sort of spreads the love. Another thing that you can do, well, this is a good tip for starting, is if you're new to it, this is really how I got started, is in the morning, I would just lay in bed and I would just breathe and feel, because in the morning everything is kind of wiped a little clean and you're a little more body aware. And I would just feel what it felt like in my body to breathe. And that's all I did was breathe. But I could feel my covers and my soft blankets. And if you're afraid you'll fall asleep when your alarm goes off, push snooze. That gives you 10 minutes to just lay in bed, to start your day. If you fall asleep, no worries. But that's a great way to start your meditation. And then, like Leanne said, you can do that anytime you want to clear the slate. So in the middle of the day, if you start feeling tension, take a few moments. You can do it in your car. You can actually breathe while you're working with other people. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it's a great idea to clear the slate by, instead of going about whatever you do normally, just saying, okay, I'm going to change into my comfy clothes and I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes. And it's like wiping the stress of the day away before you start to engage in your personal life. And that is a great way to, it's a letting go exercise, so that you can arrive in the next segment of your day.
Yeah, it's great to start and end your day with a short meditation. And I know when I talk to people about meditation, they're always like, I don't have time for that. I'm busy and I can't even get done what I need to get done. And I said, well, you need meditation even more than anything then, because once you, and I think most people will experience this after some time, your day will go so much smoother. You'll get so much more done because you're going to set the tone in the beginning of what you want your day to look like. You're going to start it from a calmer state. And in that state, then things just kind of come together better. You don't maybe have as much drama. You're still going to get flat tires and things like that. But, for the people that tell me they don't have time, I'm like, no, you do. Because I guarantee all of us spend too much time on our phone or Facebook or with the news, or just, goofing off, hitting the snooze button and doing nothing, thinking about how much you don't want to go to work. So instead you can, incorporate the meditation practice. But I also, another tip that I would say for a brand new, like beginner person, I think it's important to, almost put it on your calendar. Like, even if it's just 3 minutes that you intentionally dedicate 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes in the morning, midday, evening, whatever you can come up with, that it is, you start creating the habit. Because if it's brand new to you, then it's not going to happen, because you're just we all fall back into our old ways so easily. So it may feel really almost like a school assignment in the beginning. and you may not even feel peaceful at all. You may be like, this ain't working because I'm still ticked at my ex-husband, or whatever's popping up in your head. But trust me, it's working. So would you agree, Suzie, that maybe in the beginning it's important to almost time block it, give yourself an assignment, be a little kind of strict with yourself to make sure you're getting going on the practice?
That is definitely a way to do it. There are all kinds of ways to do it, and you'll know what resonates best with you. But that is a great way to get started. And the other thing you just mentioned that's really important is to be gentle with yourself. To not judge yourself if you perceive that it doesn't go well. Because even if you start to meditate and you notice your mind is super crazy, like monkey mind, well, that's okay, because that is an observation. That is an awareness. And that's what meditation is about. And so just be aware of that. And, eventually when you start to meditate, it'll be like there may be some commentary going on in the back of your mind, but it seems like it's far away, almost like if you were laying out at the pool and you were really relaxed and you could hear the people around you talking, but you were not engaged in it. And that's kind of what meditation becomes like, even if your mind still does what the mind does. You don't attach to it. And so be patient with yourself. Very, very important. That's why they call meditation a practice. I'm going to use an example. So imagine that you're potty training a puppy, and you take the puppy out into the grass, and the puppy doesn't want to stay in the grass. The puppy wants to go mess around in the flower bed, and it wants to go walk into the driveway and go hide in the bushes. And what do you do with the puppy when you're trying to train it? You bring the puppy back, you put it back in the grass, and you try again. And the puppy may wander off, and you bring the puppy back, and you keep bringing the puppy back, and eventually the puppy starts to learn. And they call it puppy mind, and there's a reason for that. And so if your puppy is doing puppy mind, or your mind is doing puppy mind, then just gently bring it back. It's new, and try it again. You can do this. And what Leanne talked about is true, is that the more you do it, there have been studies that have shown that meditating actually changes the gray matter in the brain. And so, like, MRI scans were done before and after meditation. It was like a Harvard study where the meditators meditated for 30 minutes a day for 8 weeks. And then there was a non-meditating group. And then they did the brain scans beforehand and the brain scans after. Those who meditated had considerable changes in the gray matter of their brains. So in the amygdala, the area responsible for stress and anxiety, actually shrunk. And then the hippocampus, the area responsible for memory and learning, actually increased. And all of the meditators noted that they had increases in self-compassion and compassion for others. And then those who did not have meditation had no changes in the gray matter of their brain. And so I, like Leanne, have meditated for a long time and have taught meditation for a long time. And I'm amazed at how much I have changed over time. In fact, even the way I respond to stress, I'm pretty calm and don't get rattled a lot often. I'm not going to say I never do, but and if I do, it's just momentary and it's done. But it really does change your brain. And so, like, when you go in to meditate, eventually you close your eyes and you're there. You don't have to, like, breathe and prepare. You're there. You can be anywhere and you're there. And it is true that as your brain changes, you become more aware, and you also really do start to live life like you're meditating as you go through your day. Like, you're more present and you notice things you maybe never would have noticed. And that really is the ideal, is that life is a meditation. But of course it takes time, but it is doable. And one thing with meditation is that you don't have to have a striving goal. Just showing up, just being is enough. Being aware, the fact that you tried. And if you can just have that type of an attitude with yourself of non-judgment, I'm going to do this, I'm going to try. And if it seems like it didn't go well, no big deal. Do it again the next day. Every time will be different, and you're going to have some breakthroughs. If you stay consistent with this, I promise you, you will have some breakthroughs. And if you're one of those people that just cannot sit still to meditate, I do know some people like that, and that's okay. Then you do the meditation through movement. Mm-hmm. You can turn your dishwashing experience into a meditation when you feel the warm water on your hands. Engage your senses. You notice the smell of the detergent, the clanging of the dishes. That is a way, the sound of the water. That is a way that you can do a meditation while you're just doing something regular, or in the shower in the morning. This is a great way to do it, is to just start to pay attention. What does the water feel like on your body when you're massaging your scalp? The scent of your shampoo. These are things you probably don't notice very often, but when you slow down and set the intention to be aware, you will notice them, and you'll notice more things than you probably anticipated.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that you use the example of washing dishes, because, the whole point of meditation is to slow the mind down, to calm it down, and to just become ultra aware. And one of the things that works really well for me is I love to vacuum my carpets. And so it's very calming to me. So it's easy for me to kind of get into that connected state when I'm vacuuming, and to notice, how I'm feeling. And then and also riding my bike is kind of the same way for me. It's so I am definitely one that it's easier for me to do an active meditation, but I also know it's really, really good for me to do a sitting meditation as well, because that's very uncomfortable for me. So it is good. It's good to do things that are uncomfortable for yourself, because I truly believe that's where I can get more connected, with my higher power, with my God, and get that really good clarity of life. So I believe that meditation is one of the best ways. A lot of people are wondering what their purpose is, and they need clarity on projects, or they need to know what their next step is. Well, just sit quietly in your meditation, and you may not get the answer that day, but maybe a couple days later, you'll meet a person that you have a conversation with, And then because you have slowed your mind down, you're really like listening and feeling this person. And they say one like random thing and it triggers like, that's it. But if you wouldn't have taken the time to start practicing meditation to kind of slow the brain down and be more in touch with yourself, you might have missed that cue from that person in that conversation. So life almost just becomes a little more like magical almost, because you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I met that person. and that helped me understand this project that I was working on. And so, those things probably happen with or without meditation, because you can be mindful and you can have good connections. But I think just that, especially in our society now, that just slowing down and dedicating that time for you, Suzie, for me, Leanne, for you, Kim, whoever's on here, and honor yourself that you deserve that quiet time and that peaceful state. And because when we are in peace, we're bringing peace to the world. And when we're gaining clarity for ourselves, we're helping others gain clarity for themselves. So what we do for us, we're doing for others.
Yes, absolutely. You bring that vibration forth in everything that you do. And imagine if everybody was focusing on how to do that type of work, how to connect with themselves, how to be more at peace, how much more peaceful the world would be. I liked what you said about connecting not only with yourself, which is very important. Your relationship with yourself is of the utmost importance. And so even if it's a little uncomfortable being with yourself, well, that is something to observe. You
Mm-hmm.
may get some clarity that, hey, I'm not comfortable being with me. So maybe doing some inner work would be a good idea. But also connecting with spirit, um, or whatever your connection is. I mean, really, we can do meditation to connect with all that is, with the universe, with God. If you want to connect in any sort of way, whether it's with the angels or with an ascended master or whatever it is that is your belief, it is a great way to connect by getting still, by being quiet and going within and setting the intention to connect. And so, in doing that, you can invoke a connection with the divine by taking 3 simple breaths, sometimes maybe a little more if it's new to you, but breathe in through your nose and then exhale through your mouth. And while you do, just set the intention to connect with your divine. And that is a great way to make that connection. But when you are connected and you start to set those intentions, like what Leanne said, you are a co-creator and you start to create the reality around you. And when you start to see it happening, that is super exciting. That's like, wow,
Yeah.
I just did that. And then you'll start to do it when you're not even really trying. The more people do this type of work, meditation, the more they do their inner work, the more they do, the more powerful they become in their co-creation. And the more, as you're raising your vibration, you draw to you that which you need and desire that's for your highest good and connecting with your higher self.
Right. And I think they say, the science says, meditation also helps our immune system, I don't have the actual factual data in front of me, but most most people would probably agree with that statement, because we're reducing the stress, and stress really beats up the immune system. So that's important. And if you ever, once you kind of get involved in your own personal meditation practice, I know Suzie and I both have had great opportunities of meditating in large groups, or groups of 10 or hundreds of people. And wow, I mean, that has some power beyond like conversation. And I know the world right now is not connecting, not too many people are getting in large groups. But if you have that opportunity to ever down the road, or even if it's on a Zoom, we're energetic, we can do those things over the computer. But if you have a chance to do a physical meditation with a group of people, where you sit in the room together, then that's pretty amazing.
It really is. And in time, maybe we will be able to go and do virtual retreats.
Yeah.
That's something I've definitely spent a lot of time doing. And when I would have a vacation time and didn't have anyone to travel with, that's what I would do, is find a place to go, like Esalen Institute, or a variety of different places that I've gone. And it was so incredibly rejuvenating and uplifting. But there are virtual retreats and workshops going on. I'm actually going to be putting some of that together. I've led many
Yay.
meditation retreats. I was thinking tonight when I was getting ready, I thought I've led hundreds of meditations. I'm like, no, actually, we're probably in the thousands by now. I
Right,
started doing that, leading the meditations back in 2010 with a bunch of mental health providers who had never experienced it and didn't know what it was. And I kind of informed them and led them through meditation. They loved the experience. And that was just in 2010, which isn't that long ago. So things
right.
have really come a long way. This is an exciting time to be alive for sure. I also want to mention something else. We've talked about a few different ways to meditate where you're doing it by yourself or while you're doing moving meditations. But it also, if you do find meditation to be a little challenging and it's helpful for you to be guided, guided meditations are on both of my websites. Well, there they are. So there are 4 on each. They're actually the same meditations on both. They are free. Click and listen or download. And I've got a plan. I've got something up my sleeve that I'll be launching probably into 2021. And so just keep posted. You might sign up for my newsletter. I don't send spam, but you'll get information regarding upcoming workshops, retreats, regarding some products that I'll be launching next year. Also, Kristen Neff. If you type in Kristen Neff and self-compassion, she has some free guided meditations also that are very powerful. But it's not going to be too hard for you to find meditations. Just find something that resonates with you and try different things. It's kind of fun to try new meditations, and you'll find someone that resonates with you.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have a space in your house where you can kind of create your own little, even if it's just a little corner where you have a pretty candle and maybe some crystals or rocks or just things that feel really good to you, that's nice to have if you have that space that you can create. It doesn't mean you have to go sit there all the time, or even if it's on your back patio or something. But make it special. Have fun with it, and I don't know, because most of us, especially women, we don't take the time to really do the self-care. We're always in a rush. And so this is just a way to honor who you are. And, even if you just spend $10 to make a little altar for yourself around your meditation. And yeah, there's tons of free ones on YouTube and, apps that you can download guided if you want to and get started that way. So there's no reason not to get started. Now, the other thing that I know scares people away, and I think, Suzie, you kind of mentioned this, is that they're afraid of what they're going to see if they slow down. And they're afraid maybe what they have to address on the inside if we slow down and don't keep ourselves so distracted. So and I know that's what you do for a living, is help people with that. But there's nothing, that's a good thing if those things come up, because then you can deal with them, correct?
Exactly. You don't want to shove it under the carpet and pretend it's not there, and then have it get you down the road with some type of a illness or a heart condition or something like that. And I don't say that to scare you, but a lot of times, we do create our health through our thoughts, through our beliefs, through the emotions that we have that are stored in our bodies that we haven't looked at or dealt with. And so it is powerful to face those things. And while it may be a little bit scary to face the tiger, you become stronger and more courageous for it. And there may be some things, that come up that you are not really excited about looking at. We've all had those. Um, but then I don't know. I know when I first started doing my inner work, at first it was like, wow, this is interesting. I didn't know that was in there. It's like
Right.
pulling a skeleton out and looking at it and studying it. And then it was like, this is kind of exciting. I should have known what I would do for a living by my approach to that. And not
Right.
everybody has that approach, but it's about learning to love yourself. And
Yeah.
when you can face your dragons and you can become friends with them and realize that we're all human, none of us are perfect, that we all have flaws, and that there are two sides to every coin, and that, where there's peace, there's also frustration. Where there's where there's fear, there's also love. And you can face and look at all those pieces and parts, all those aspects of you with a gentle kindness towards yourself,
Hmm.
knowing that you're doing the best that you can. And there is so much healing in that. And really, this is about learning to love ourselves. And when we do that, we help to love other people. It's easier to love other people and not judge them. And we help to heal the planet. It really is, our healing work starts with ourselves. And that's how we heal the planet. And clearly, we have a lot of healing that needs to be done on this planet. And
Right.
so I empower you. I encourage you to start with yourself. Um, I love this work. I love doing it with myself and empowering other people and guiding them, because it's not as scary as you think. I think people are more afraid of just doing it. Then once they get started, they're like, well, that wasn't so bad. It was easier spending an hour with you than carrying this around
Right.
every day for my whole life.
Yeah.
And it's just like peeling back the layers of the onion. You peel back a layer, and when it's time or someone triggers you in some
Hmm.
certain way or there's something overwhelming, then we peel back another layer. And sometimes they don't come off one layer at a time, they come off layers at a time. So
Right.
it's a great
Yeah, awesome. Well, I think we probably gave everybody enough to at least get, started on a meditation journey. And then we've got, of course, your contact information here. And Susie's the expert. I have just done this stuff all my life, so I guess you could, I don't have all the initials behind my name, but
You're good, Leanne. You're
but
awesome.
yeah, but we're both
You
great
got it.
resources. I always just call myself like I'm the girl next door. I'm very practical, and I like to share how these things have impacted my life because I think it makes it less scary for folks. So, and I have learned over the years that the pain of the soul is universal. So I know, like, if I'm experiencing a pain, like it may show up differently in my life than it does in someone else, but how it feels on the inside is really pretty universal. So, through meditation, I've been able to discover that, and that just makes you a much more compassionate person. But I'm still have my personality where I'm a go getter. I'm very direct. I'm a military girl. I'm a getter done. Um, but underneath that is I mean, I I truly intend to do everything with love every day. Now, how someone takes it, they may not take it that way, but that's what I feel called to do in this lifetime is to be that, the tagline of my show is empowerment through connection. So to help connect people to themselves and to other folks and to me to realize that we're much more alike than we are different. And when we realize that the joy and the pain of the soul is universal, then I think it's much easier to understand our neighbor, to love thy neighbor, to be kind to thy neighbor. So, and I know people probably think, Leanne, you live in some woo woo world that doesn't exist, and my my life can be extremely challenging and stressful, but I choose to come from love no matter what shows up in my life. And I do it perfectly? Heck no. I fall down and I get to look at those skeletons that are coming out at me and go, oh, I thought I'd dealt with that. Well, maybe not. You get to look at it again. So I think it's just important for us to really, as a society and community and for our own selves, just to slow down and think about looking at the world differently, looking at ourselves differently, and starting with a simple meditation practice is a great way to do that.
Yes, and that's an important message, that what's going on in the world right now is driving home for a lot of people. And honestly, it's the challenges that bring most of us to do our work. I know that
Yeah.
was very true for myself, probably for you as well. Most
Yes.
of my clients, that's what brings and drives people to do their inner work, to realize that they need peace and that they don't have it, is when there are challenges. And
Hmm.
so the challenges actually are catalysts for growth. And yeah, we have a lot of catalysts for growth right now. And let's hope that the whole planet decides that, yes, I want to get on board and do my share of what I can do to improve here. The world is to do my work and to go in and find that love within and radiate that out. Um, that is, I guess, a call to action for
Right.
anybody that isn't yet doing their inner work. Is starting with meditation is a great way to start, but doing some deep inner work, it lightens the load so much and it makes life so much easier. And yes, it is possible to be calm and centered and peaceful in the middle of chaos. And of course, what do you want to contribute? Do you want to contribute calm and peace in the world, or do you want to contribute to the chaos? You can withdraw from the chaos and you can go within and you can find that place and then walk back out in the world in that way.
Yeah, that's a beautiful closing. So anybody that's catching the live or the replay or the podcast, reach out. Suzie and I are both very available if you want to hear more about her story or my story or have questions for us. We are here for you guys. That's why we're doing this. And so I hope everyone has a great evening. And I don't know what Suzie and I are going to be talking about next month. We're going to get together and kind of brainstorm. So she may have told me already, but it's in a notebook somewhere. So
I do know what it is. Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do next time is a podcast on healing the inner child. So we're going to talk about how those inner child experiences, those experiences from our childhood impact us continually and in the present, and how we go about doing healing. And I may even lead us through an exercise if we have time on that.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Well, that will be something to really look forward to. So everyone have a fantastic evening and be on the lookout for our update of when our next show is going to be. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.